Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos. And today I have for you a Doomcaliber Traptrix deck. Now this deck, I made it because I wanted to level up Odeon, and you can do that in PvP, you get pretty good experience. So I knew it was going to be a trap heavy deck, it had to be a control deck. And then I started thinking Doomcaliber Knight. Ever since the card came out, the artwork is so good that I wanted to make a deck. So that's kind of how this deck was put together. Doomcaliber Knight, if you're not familiar with this, cannot be special summoned. During either player's turn, if a monster effect is activated, tribute this face-up card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. So it is a mandatory effect, which means it also applies to any monster effects activated on your side of the field. So you could activate something and destroy your own monster, which is not something you want to do. And that's where the next step of the deck started, is where I was like, okay, what are good monsters that have effects but that are all optional? Like, I can activate them when I want and I won't accidentally trigger my own Doomcaliber Knight. So Traptrix came to mind. I don't have 3 of either of the Traptrix monsters, that's why I'm only running 2 of each. And I threw in a Justice Bringer because I don't have a third Doomcaliber Knight, but we'll get to Justice Bringer in a minute. Traptrix, Atrix, this card is unaffected by the effects of whole normal trap cards. You can activate whole normal trap cards from your hand. That is huge because it basically makes all of your traps quick play spells. So you can activate them from your hand without setting them. If your opponent hates True Nates, you can still activate any of your trap hole traps from your hand. It's really good, especially in the kind of meta we're in right now, where a lot of decks are OTK. So you have Karakuri, you have Koa'ki Meiru, you have all types of decks, even Destiny Hero, running Hey True Nade so that they can go for the OTK immediately. Hey True Nade doesn't matter for us as long as we have Traptrix, Atrix on the field, as you're gonna see in most of these duels. The activation and effects of normal trap cards activated on your side of the field cannot be negated, which means they cannot negate. Actually, that's interesting. I feel like I misplayed a lot now. Now that I reread this card, I thought it was also only trap hole cards, but that means that Sandman can't negate Wall of Disruption, and your Canadias cannot be negated when she's on the field. Wow, I just have more appreciation for this card now. I feel like I scrubbed that, I didn't know that. Anyway, the second Traptrix, Diana, we'll call her Diana. This card is unaffected by the effects of whole normal trap cards. When this card is normal summoned, you can target one Traptrix monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in defense position. When this card is special summoned, you can target one whole normal trap card in your graveyard, set that target, but banish it during the end phase of your next turn if it is still on the field. You can only use this effect of Traptrix Diana once per turn. So this effect didn't really come up a lot for me in the deck because I only have 2 and I don't have any way of special summoning other than this card. So I would have to have one in the grave and then summon another one, which like I said, didn't happen once. But it's a really cool effect. Other than that, it's just a nice Traptrix that is not affected by whole traps, and yeah. But I believe Atrix is the better one. And then that brings us to Justice Bringer. Justice Bringer, once per turn, when a special summon monster your opponent controls activates its effect, you can negate the activation. So it's kind of cool. It's better than Caliber in the sense that you choose what to negate, but it also has more restrictions. It's only special summon monsters. So they both have their better situations. But I wanted to go with the double Doomcaliber and the Justice Bringer. I threw in one Shrink just because I have it, and I was like, why not, man? If I run into a Jinso, maybe I'll need it. So 1 Shrink, 2 Canadia, 2 Floodgate Trap Holes. I don't have a third one, otherwise I would cut Canadia to 1 and then have 3 Floodgates. 2 Mirror Walls, 2 Wall Disruptions. You really need those cards because I don't really have a lot of removal. There was actually one duel where it was really hard to get over a big defensive monster and I didn't have anything for it. I just had to wait until my opponent attacked into my back row, which is kind of the downside of this deck. I threw in one Traptrix Hold Nightmare. When a monster that was special summoned this turn activates its effect on your opponent's side of the field, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. I kind of put this card in here because it's a hold trap and it's prismatic, but I could have also thrown in this one for the same reason. I also have a prismatic, and looking at them now, I like them both, but I don't think they both fit in the deck. Boy Trap Hole says when your opponent special summons a monster with 2000 or more attack, negate the effect of one of those monsters with 2000 or more attack, and if you do, destroy it. So the cool thing is that this negates the monster and destroys it on summon, but it has to be 2000 or more attack. And this one has a really bad restriction that says when a monster was special summoned this turn, so it only works if they activate the effect during that turn. So, you know, I don't know, I kind of like Boy Trap Hole more now because they're gonna be I went up against Blue Eyes a lot, and you know, they have the Cosmo Brain, but this is the card that I was using when I was running the deck. Only one Treacherous Trap Hole. I didn't want to run two, even though it's so good. I didn't want to run two and then just have a dead one, although we are running Endless Trap Hole, so I just went with the one, and then two Adhesion Trap Hole to round up the rest of the deck. Extra deck is just a bluff to make them think I'm running heroes, but actually just added it before recording the video. I didn't have any extra deck when I was playing the deck. So sorry that was kind of a long explanation, but sometimes you guys are curious as to why a certain card choice. Not that I don't mind, not that I mind answering the comments, but you know, this way I can let you know up front why I choose each card. So we're going first against Akisa, and I believe this was the Karakuri deck. Yeah, so Karakuri Merchant is going to get Anatomy, and there was a lot of misplays on my opponent's side of the field that I picked up. First of all, he adds Anatomy and then activates Cachet without activating the Anatomy. So right there, they're already losing a counter, which is not good. They're gonna add Ninishi, which is fine. He goes into defense mode. I guess they remember, oh yeah, I should activate Anatomy. So they activate Anatomy and go for a second Cachet. Now why is that a mistake? Because you have to turn your monster into attack position, and now you have to attack with it. So I don't know how intentional this was, if they were like, oh, I'm not gonna get OTK by a Traptrix deck, but that's just 1300 damage for free and you lose a monster. So we see the top deck right there. Hey True Nate, they feel super safe, don't they? But I have Atrax, so I'm not worried about this Hey True Nate. They immediately go into Ninishi and Nisamu, feeling very confident obviously, and I'm gonna activate my Treacherous Trap Hole from the hand, which is just devastating. Basically it ends my opponent's turn. There was no point in setting any Adhesion Trap Holes because I could activate them from the hand. I only set the Mirror Wall and the Shrink. Very unfortunate though that I get hit with a Canadia. I probably should have known that. But they don't commit, so I knew they had a tuner. I don't know what the other card they're holding on to is, but for some reason they didn't commit. They just set a Nisamu and end their turn. So I'm gonna get my Floodgate in there, Mirror Wall, Shrink, and I can still add the Adhesion if I need to. So there's no point in floodgating this because he was gonna have two summons anyway, so I wasn't gonna be able to stop the Synchro monster regardless. So I'm just gonna let it happen. I mean, I couldn't stop them from Synchro summoning. I can stop, however, the Synchro monster. And this was arguably another misplay, but I don't know. I didn't look at the deck list. Maybe they don't run the Strategist, which would have been able to flip this guy back into attack position, and basically negating my Floodgate. Instead, they just summon an Inishi to go for Armades. I'm gonna activate Adhesion Trap Hole. They're gonna chain their Canadia, but I'm not worried about an 1150 Armades. I'm gonna pause it right here because they instantly scoop. Activate my skill, and what do I get back? Treacherous Trap Hole, and the rest of my traps are going to the deck, which means I can just activate this as if it were a quick play spell. So they insta scoop after that. Bye. So yeah, I mean, you know, kind of a scummy deck. You are obviously hiding behind the back row. And so far you haven't seen Doomcaliber yet, but I need an Odeon deck. Plus it's King of Games, so it's not like I'm ruining anyone's climb. So this back-to-back Arcanas were actually the same person. And I thought it was pretty funny because the second time they played, they're clearly playing around my deck now that they know what it is. So turn 1, we don't really have any trap hole cards other than Hole of Nightmare, so we're just gonna summon Justice Bringer. Hit him for 17. Breaker is going to be summoned, so I'm gonna go ahead and use Canadia. And looking back, I probably shouldn't have summoned Justice Bringer because I had an answer for Cosmo Brain with my Traptrix Trap Hole. But because I have Justice Bringer, this makes him not want to activate the Cosmo Brain effect, because obviously I can negate the effect. Even though this doesn't get destroyed, he still has to tribute the monster first as a cost. Although that makes him go more aggressive and he ends up attacking into my mirror wall. So either way, it worked out for me. I'm gonna go ahead and pay for the wall and summon my Traptrix. This was a very good play on, you know, on his part. He goes for the Treacherous Trap Hole and then chains the Canadia, which means my Traptrix is gonna be face down when it gets destroyed. So its immunity to trap hole cards, you know, doesn't count because she's face down. But my Canadia is still able to destroy the breaker, and that pretty much seals the game for me. And then this man got his rematch. He clicked that duel button so fast. And I guess I did too because we got matched up again. So round 2. Same Blue Eyes player. Now they know what I'm running. Maybe they know exactly what cards I'm running if they looked at my list. We're going first again. And this time we have the Hatronade Negator. So there's absolutely no reason for me to even set this card. And the reason why is because if they send something like a Dragon Spirit of White to the graveyard, they're gonna banish and then special summon it, or just special summon it from the hand with Cosmo Brain. They're gonna negate, they're gonna banish one of my traps, and I'd rather have them in the graveyard for my skill. So we're just gonna summon the monster and keep him in hand. Maybe he thinks I bricked because no, I don't think he thought I bricked. I think this is why I think he was playing around my deck, only summoning one monster, didn't try to overextend or anything like that. But his Cosmo Brain is still gonna be dealt with turn 1. We're gonna go for a second Traptrix, and this time we're gonna set the Wall of Disruption. Breaker, unfortunately, is gonna be able to destroy that. And I made him. You could say that I make a mistake here by not activating my Adhesion Trap Hole. But the reason I didn't is because this guy cannot get over my Traptrix. So for him to destroy both of my Traptrix, he's gonna have to kill one with Dragon Spirit of White and then special summon a Blue Eyes. And I have the answer for the Blue Eyes. So that's why I'm holding on to my Adhesion Trap Hole right here. I could also feel a delay as soon as he summoned the Dragon Spirit of White. So I knew there was a Blue Eyes there. He's gonna summon a second Breaker. At this time, I cannot afford to wait for the Blue Eyes because, Dragon Spirit of White can simply destroy this. So I'm gonna have to force the Adhesion Trap Hole right now. And after he attacks me with Dragon Spirit of White, he can't summon the Blue Eyes because I'm not controlling anything. So all I have to do is hopefully top deck a monster, attack the Breaker, and win the game. That was kind of my gamble there. Luckily for me, I get just that, Justice Bringer, and I get an Adhesion Trap Hole, which is not really going to help me much against that Dragon Spirit of White had my opponent had a Karibo or something like that. Either way, we'll pull out the win. 2 for 2 against that Blue Eyes player and deck. and then I have 2 more. This was the weirdest My Valentine deck I've ever seen. They're running Aroma Strategy, so I thought it could be old school Hazy. I don't know why else you would run Aroma Strategy. And then we see their set monster. So we're gonna go Justice Bringer because we don't know what we're playing against. And I see Gravekeepers Recruiter, so I'm like, okay, it could be a full-on Gravekeepers deck. Maybe they're excited for Necro Valley. Or it's just a Silent Magician deck, right? Those are 2 logical thoughts, train of thoughts. Well, guess what it is? It is all of it and more. Diamond Core of Koa'ki Meiru is going to add Iron Core. They are going to banish the Diamond Core to protect their Maximus. So because I cannot destroy that, I have to go ahead and Floodgate it. Even though I could have negated the effect, I wouldn't have been able to destroy it. And this was the duel where I didn't know what I was going to do next. This Maximus still has 2500 defense, and unless they attack into me, I don't really have an answer for them. So they're going to go for a second Maximus, because why not? This time I have to go Adhesion Trap Hole just to make him weak enough for my Justice Bringer, and he does activate the effect, which means I can negate it with Justice Bringer. Unfortunately though, or you know, didn't matter because I have another back row. But this guy goes Gravekeepers Recruiter and gets the Tricky. He was also running triple Silent Magician level 4, 1 Silent Magician level 8. This deck was all over the place and he would have beaten, but I had too much back row. We're gonna destroy the Tricky. I like the fact that Adhesion Trap Hole is obviously permanent. And yeah, I destroy the Maximus and they scoop. But I was really worried about how I was going to deal with that face down Maximus. So I should probably add more removal cards to the deck, because really my only option is them attacking into me, Adhesion Trap Hole to get them low enough, or my Treacherous. Now we're going up against the last Gamble, Joey Wheeler, and I believe this is also Koa'ki Meiru. So I had a pretty good win rate against them. They're going to set 1. We're going to go for Atrax. Keep that Floodgate in hand. And there's the Sandman. So we're going to go ahead and summon Doomcaliber. So now we can negate any effect, or the first effect that happens. Immediately they go for the H-Grenade. They're feeling safe. They're going to go Diamond Core. And this was very odd, in my opinion. They activate Diamond Core, but they don't banish it. They just summon the Iron Knight and then try to special summon right away. So my Doomcaliber is gonna negate that, and I would have been able to negate it no matter what. But the Iron Knight would have stayed on the field had they just banished their Diamond Core first. So that really confused me a lot. Then we see the Maximus, so we're gonna go ahead and Floodgate that from the hand. And I believe this is just a lot of me ending my turn because I don't have a way of dealing with that Maximus yet again. But I do have more cards than he does, so I was going for the deck out, believe it or not. They finally think they have enough resources in hand, so they go for Last Gamble, helping me get to that deck out even faster. Roll a 6. Koa'ki Meiru rolls a 6. A 6. And I still win this duel. So we're gonna go ahead and flip this Mirror Wall. So that it stays on the field with the H-Grenade. We don't really care. All of our trap holes are going to still be activatable because of Atrax. So that is his second H-Grenade. Koa'ki Meiru used 2 H-Grenade, roll a 6, and they still lose. So this was very smart on their part. I didn't adhesion the first one because I figured he would activate the effect of this one first. And I had no idea that there was a second one coming up. So this was a good play on their part. They summoned the second one. I have to adhesion that one. And now they can just sacrifice, quote unquote, sacrifice that Maximus. You know, the lower attack Maximus for my Doomcaliber Knight. And the reason why it's a smart play is because it removes a weak monster from the field, since they only have the 100 life points. So my Doomcaliber effect is going to activate. and they summon an Earn Knight, but luckily my Floodgate clogging this card makes it to where he cannot have lethal. Whether he destroyed my Traptrix or my Mirror Wall, he wasn't going to be able to have lethal. I was going to survive either way, so they destroy the Mirror Wall and then go for the attacks. This time they banished the Diamond Core, and like I said, I think it was intentional to not banish it before activating the Maximus effect because they didn't want a weak monster on the field. But now they've gotten rid of 2 Hate Runates, and there's only 2 cards left on the field. So I've already taken care of 2 Maximus. One is face down, one is destroyed, and I have all the back row in the world to try to stall this out for as long as possible. We're gonna get Adhesion Trap Hole. I would have liked if it was Floodgate, but it wasn't. So we're gonna double Canadia immediately. This will put another monster on the field that they have to get through, and he won't be able to destroy my Wall of D, which he ends up attacking into my monster, running into that Wall of D. But they were out of options at that point. They either had to, you know, wait it out, had one more turn to maybe try to push for game with that Maximus, but no Hate Runate, nothing really that they could do after that. So there you go, that is my Doomcaliber / Traptrix deck. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Join my Discord if you haven't, the link will be down in the description. Along with my PayPal link if you guys want to support my channel, support my content. I really appreciate that. And until next time.